first, live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us for First Alert Weather Extra, our extra little show that we do most days of the week, not every day, but I'm meteorologist Camilla Ortiz, joined by meteorologist Peyton Major, and we're excited to talk to you about A, some exciting weather that's going to be happening, and B, some climatology as we kick off the month of June very shortly. Yeah.
Which is so close. 5 days away.
I'm left. I know. So what day is it?
What day is it?
Yeah, 4 days left of May, which is kind of insane to think about.
Wow.
So, yeah. So let's go through what we're going to talk about. Central and Eastern Oregon storms, maybe some Cascade storms as well tomorrow afternoon. So we've even got some exciting radar things happening right now. We'll talk about spring so far, and also Peyton's going to take us through what June might look like for us.
Yes, a little summer outlook as well. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but it's nice to know what we could expect the next 3 months.
Definitely. And we've certainly seen our kind of tastes of summer already, but June is really when we start to really kind of crank up the heat here. Yeah.
Definitely. All right, I'm stepping out.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Feel free to come back at any time if you're like, oh, exciting, I want to point at this, Peyton. We got a lot going on there in Central Oregon. Lots of lightning, some downpours there, getting closer to Medford. I think, zooming in just a little bit closer. Look at that. I mean, once you get into the oranges and the reds, that's pretty heavy rainfall moving through Klamath Falls, again, towards Medford. But we've seen this area kind of light up. Look at our lightning counter. 700 plus strikes just in the last 2 hours, stretching from that area I was just showing you all the way to Burns. So that's pretty crazy stuff. That's some strong uplift we've got going on. And then you can see on our satellite picture here, if you watch the rotation of the clouds, you can see this is that moisture being pushed in from that low pressure system that gave us the showers the last couple of days, right? It's continuing to move south, but we're kind of getting the wraparound moisture, sort of the back end effect as that system continues to trek southward. So we expect a little bit more of this kind of activity with the lightning, the thunderstorms to trigger tomorrow as well. So let's take a look at our observed high temperatures today. We did think it would be a hair warmer than it actually was. Some metro area spots did touch 80. I noticed 80 degrees in Troutdale. Otherwise, upper 70s for Portland and Salem. So still warmer than average, but a nice day out there. A little bit more cloud cover over the coast, upper 50s to the low 60s there. All right, let's talk about the action that's going to be happening tomorrow. So Peyton and I decided First Alert Weather Days tomorrow for the Cascades, Gorge, and Central and Eastern Oregon because of the thunderstorm activity and downpours. I mean, it could be very active in those areas. So time frame here, basically any time in the afternoon, could see some showers start to come up late morning, but really noon to 9 p.m. is that kind of sweet spot. Severe risk east of the mountains, so could definitely see some stronger storms developing in northeast Oregon. Could see 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts near those storms. That would certainly cause damage, some scattered outages, limbs down, that sort of thing. And we're watching for the potential for quarter-sized hail, which could also be quite damaging. So that's why we called First Alert Weather Day tomorrow. Not very often do we see this yellow color on our map, right? We don't get very many thunderstorms here in the Pacific Northwest. So when we see an elevated risk for severe weather, we definitely want to pay attention. But notice that pretty much the entire state of Oregon and most of Washington too, at least low risk for seeing something coming up. So we're definitely going to be seeing some thunderstorms here tomorrow is the point. Here's another tool that we use. We look at something called CAPE, or thunderstorm energy, and look at how that map just lights up tomorrow afternoon. Kind of crazy, huh? So still pretty low here. Red is kind of low energy over the western valleys, but once you get into the kind of more yellow white color, that's higher energy there. So again, northeast Oregon, kind of the sweet spot for some potential severe storms there, which we will be watching. All right, let's see if we can kind of nail down the timing just a little bit. These models aren't perfect, especially when you've got, more of a pop-up showery type thing going on versus just a band of rain coming through. But we think everyone pretty much starts calm in the morning, especially west of the Cascades. Just sunshine here for us in Portland. We start to see maybe some shower activity around Bend late morning. This is 10 a.m. More interesting stuff starts to pop up there in the afternoons. This is 3 p.m. Already starting to see some kind of juicier showers popping up in the eastern third of the state. and they're going to continue to trek westward towards us and towards the Cascades. So yeah, this could be some juicy stuff there passing around the Dalles. So portions of the gorge could be getting dumped on tomorrow. Continues to push closer to us. Now we're at 9 p.m. and then it kind of fizzles out. So I don't know. What do you think, Peyton? Do you think we'll see anything floating over into the I-5 corridor?
We may see some marine development, but I think it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
And that marine push is pretty strong Friday morning, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see that's going to start to kind of shut things down. And typically what happens is we see those thunderstorms getting just shredded apart by the mountains. So typically it kind of stops there. But this is Friday morning. Could see a shower chance there with that marine push like Peyton mentioned. Maybe a sprinkle. And then we'll see things clearing out for the second half of your Friday. So more sunshine expected. And then the weekend looks really nice and uneventful. We don't have any more moisture around. But yeah, those thunderstorms, wow, some really good potential for heavy rain in the spots that we need it the most, where we see most of the drought. Inch plus in some of these areas, Bend, maybe closer to 1.5 inches. If you see any red here, that's 2 inches of rain. Again, just one model's interpretation, but that's some good rainfall there. All right, unfortunately, west of the Cascades, we don't really see much going on. So just to show you our rain chances here in the I-5 corridor, they don't look great. Likely dry on Thursday, maybe a shower chance here on Friday. More than likely, that's going to stay in the Cascades, but we'll see. We could get something, and then back to dry weather as we start the month of June there on Monday. All right, so I think I just have the 7-day forecast here for you, and then Peyton's up with some climatology. Low 80s is what we've got for your Thursday. We cool things down Friday with that marine push. We have that shower chance on there. So mid 60s for your Friday. Super nice weekend, right about average, exactly where we should be, close to 70 degrees there. Really warming things up as a ridge of high pressure builds again. Mid to upper 80s Monday and Tuesday, and then maybe a slight cool down there on Wednesday, back in the mid 70s. So all in all, kind of a nice mix of things. And yeah, we'll see, Peyton, if we get any action, any thunderstorm action west of the Cascades tomorrow.
Yeah, that Friday system's so interesting because we're going to cool down almost 20 degrees in one day.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do a little spring recap so far. I want to talk about rain yesterday. We didn't get much, but we just had a few hundredths of an inch observed in the metro area, and that added on to our May rainfall total. Now, it's sad. Prepare your eyes. Ready? Only 0.6 of an inch there for this month so far, and it kind of is right in line with our overall trend of the last handful of years. We're looking at below average rainfall. Our average this time of year is about 2.5 inches in May, and we only had 1 year that surpassed that in 2022. So yeah, we definitely need the rain. That's no surprise, especially because with all of the lack of rain and then also our drought worsening, which we'll get to in a second, it's in dire need. We're entering our dry season. So this month. It's the percent of normal precipitation. So when we look at this map, you see the reds. That's actually 25% or less of what we should have gotten rainfall-wise. A lot of that's highlighting in the central and eastern part of the state, and again, kind of going back to the rain that's coming the next day or so. This is going to be beneficial, even though downpours aren't very fun and thunderstorms can be a little bit stressful. Spring so far. So if we look back to March, April, and May, those are meteorological spring in our book. We start meteorological summer on June 1st. So we're kind of wrapping up this series of data for spring. Still above normal. In fact, Portland, 4th warmest spring on record. Salem was the 10th and Pendleton the 13th. So definitely not a record-breaking spring, but still of note, especially in the Portland metro area, to say, all right, we were about 2 degrees above where we should have been. What about rain? Well, March looked promising. We had over an inch from normal there, and then April came and it was about average, and then now we're in May. And this is a current number for today. This will fluctuate if we get a little bit of rain on Friday, but regardless, we're thinking at least a little bit below average when it comes to that spring precipitation. So drier than normal overall. Here's our drought monitor. This actually updated last Thursday. We'll get a new one tomorrow. So you can just kind of take a gander at this map and then check tomorrow the U.S. drought monitor. But yeah, nearly all of Oregon is dry, which is the yellow color. Abnormally dry is not drought, but every other color is drought. Abnormally dry means, hey, that's an area we're going to be watching. And if we continue to not get rain, it's probably going to be upgraded to maybe moderate or even severe drought. So we're seeing severe drought in orange, couple red spots. That's actually extreme drought, level 4. and that's mainly in the Cascades and parts of Central Oregon. So what would be lovely is if these storms tomorrow could really just dump on these areas and at least, get rid of some of those oranges and reds. That'd be nice. I'd mentioned meteorological summer is just a few days away. Something else happening this weekend is we have a second full moon in the same month.
Ooh.
Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
It's called the blue moon, and it's going to peak 1:45 a.m. Sunday. Please don't wake up that early. You can see it actually all the way Friday through Monday.
Just stay up, don't sleep.
Yeah, don't sleep. No, the moon, it's not going to appear blue, unfortunately. It's not like the Smurfs or whatever, that'd be cool. But it's called blue moon because that's the second full moon in a single calendar month. So the next one isn't until December 31st, 2028. Happens every 2.5-ish years. And the lunar cycle is a little less than a month, so it's pretty hard to find a full moon at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. It's going to appear slightly smaller and dimmer. This is actually our smallest appearing full moon of the year because the moon and sun are in apogee, so that means the moon is pretty far away from Earth. All right, entering the driest time of year. I had mentioned, June kind of starts the summer, starts the dry season for us. Frequency of rain, well, we're going to start June with maybe a daily rain chance of 20 to 30%. This is any given day on average. And then we're going to go to mid-July where it's, less than 10%. Very common. Okay, June in Portland, some years, summer arrives a little faster than others, but 72 is our average high on the 1st and then 78 by the end of the month. 1.63 inches is our average rainfall. We've also had Junes near almost 4.5 inches, and then we've also had nearly bone dry Junes. That was back in 1951. 2 days at or above 90 in an average June. I think most years have been at or slightly above that recently. So you can see a lot of 3s and 4s, but we've had even a couple of standout years, 2015 and 2021. 9 90-degree days in a row, and we all remember the 2021 one. That was not fun with the daily record of PDX broken. So we'll see what this next June holds. Rain-wise, it's been truly a mixed bag. I mean, 50-50 pretty much. So last June, we had just above average rainfall. Again, that was 1.63 inches, so almost 2 inches. And then every other year, it's kind of hit or miss if we get above or below. So it'd be nice to kind of make up for the lost precipitation that we had in May and get a little bit of a wetter June, although some of you may disagree, just because it is the start of summer. Here's average monthly precipitation. So June is here in orange. We're getting down to the reds. July and August, that's our 2 driest months, around 1/2 inch average the whole entire month. And then September is similar to June, and then we kind of go back to our wetter months. All right, let's look ahead. These dates might be one day off, actually. I made this graphic yesterday. So we're going to look June 1st through June 5th. Above average temperatures from the Climate Prediction Center all across most of the western or northwestern U.S. Below and normal temperatures expected for the southeastern U.S., excuse me. And so this is basically just an outlook saying, hey, in about a week to 10 days, the average temperature will probably be, or the temperature you see is probably going to be above average in our region. Precipitation-wise, not looking great. Below average for the Pacific Northwest, or near average, a little wetter down toward the south. But let's talk about summer. I wanted to recap last year really quick so you could see what happened last summer. We had a really warm summer. In fact, it was the 7th warmest, and all first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or since 2020 or 2015. So yeah, summers are getting warmer. That's pretty evident. And then rain-wise, we didn't have too thrilling of a summer, but at least it wasn't above average, just barely, slightly wetter than normal. So this is the Climate Prediction Center's 3-month temperature outlook. We're going June, July, August. Above normal temperatures. This isn't a surprise with everything that we've been forecasting for months now. And there's no part of the U.S. that looks like it'll be below average. So probably a warm summer. Again, it doesn't mean you're not going to get a random 60-degree day or 70-degree day mixed in with the 80s and 90s, but it just means that overall trends are leaning pretty warm. 3-month rain outlook is all over the place as well, but at least locally it looks below normal. Not great for wildfire and drought and all the things. So this is why we're kind of getting so pumped about the rain in Central and Eastern Oregon tomorrow. We're not overhyping it. We're just excited. We really do need this beneficial rain. A great resource is to download our Fox 12 weather app. That's an awesome resource, especially for tomorrow. It'll tell you if there's lightning nearby. You can check out radar. If you have family, friends, or you're traveling over in Central and Eastern Oregon, it's a good tool to have, especially tomorrow afternoon. That's kind of one to watch, or even tonight as that band moves through. We also update videos and the forecast multiple times a day, which is more than your normal weather app can do. So I'll rejoin Camilla here.
Yes.
Do you have anything to add about summer stuff?
That was informative. It's actually interesting when we were looking at the May, what rainfall we've seen in past Mays compared to past Junes. It almost looks like we've had some wetter Junes in recent years compared to Mays, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah, May's been just a weird month. Very dry, faster growing season, higher pollen.
Yeah.
I think we've all felt it.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was great. All right, so that's our show. That's our First Alert Weather Extra show. Thanks again for watching. Again, you can always access these online. They live at kptv.com or on that app. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.